Hi, welcome to the third episode of the Fishbowl Podcast. I'm Remy.
And I'm Hannah, and today we're going to be talking about movies and TV shows that feature high schools and are centered around high schools and how things happen in the shows that don't happen in real life and why that's so crazy whack, and our thoughts and feelings on that. We're going to be talking about that today. And to accompany our thoughts, we have our Not Cups. So Remy, would you like to show us what Not Cup you have brought with you today?
I would love to. It's a little heavy. It's a measuring bowl.
Beautiful.
So I can see exactly how much water I'm consuming, because you gotta drink that water, stay hydrated.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually very good. I was drinking from it earlier, and it's not actually hard to drink from, so that's good.
Wow. You get extra points for that, because normally it's hard to drink from. Or
It's got a little spout.
In the case of lust. Well, what I have today, I have this gum box? What's this thing called?
Container?
Yeah, container. It's got water in it. But it's only freshly emptied. And it's like minty mint gum. So the water will taste very, it smells like gum. It smells very minty. So I'm kind of worried to drink it that it's going to taste like toothpaste. So I might just not drink it. We'll see. Let's get to the video. So basically I just have a list of things that we're going to talk about. I'm going to talk about specific movies, specific shows, and things that we learned from these shows and our expectations of high school, pre-high school, during high school, and what really happened and how we were lied to. So the first thing on my list I have here is I clearly made a typo. I said there's always a fridge party. I think I meant to say friggin' party. There's always a friggin' party, but I wrote a fridge party. Yeah, there's always a party. There's always parties all the time. And for not specific reasons, they just say, hey, my parents are out of town. Let's have a party. Hey, my parents are in town. Let's have a party. Let's just party. They're always having parties, and everyone goes all the time to all these parties. And
everyone knows about the parties. I think that's the weird bit.
That seems to be the tea in all of the shows.
Recently, there's been a bit of a thing.
Yeah, okay, true.
But before that, people have parties. I don't know how often they have parties, but
not every week.
We see the thing.
Yeah, we'd see them all
Probably
partying.
I feel like parties are always just very good circumstances for things in movies. There's always It's always someone you know is going to be at the party. It's not just to go to the party to go. It's for a reason, which I think is odd because sometimes
nothing ever happens. Go to the party. You just go to the party and you party. But you see, parties that we'd go to in real life,
mm-hmm.
They would be, for Halloween, they'd be, for a birthday, they'd be, for a reason.
Yeah.
Because, I'm not sure if that's the thing with, everyone, that it would always have a reason for the party, but...
A lot of times there is a reason.
A lot of the times it's a reason because no parent is going to be yeah, just throw a party every week.
Specific shows this is being aimed at, or...
Well, I'm thinking right now, Booksmart.
Yeah.
She has parents, and this kind of different to the other ones. She does have parents, and in the way that she's always very responsible and whatever. So they're oh yeah, go have a good time, and this is her first party. Mm-hmm. And she's a senior. It's her last she's old comparative to whatever the youngest year.
It happens a lot in shows.
Where they just go to a party.
Teen shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the supernatural shows, they're never, parents are never there.
Yeah.
The parents are dead, or they just are not around to watch their children. Yeah.
Also with, in the schools with teachers and stuff, they don't really get yelled at a whole bunch, or they get yelled at all the time. And it's the premise of the movie, aka Breakfast Club, is just them being in detention.
Or in Ferris Bueller, that one teacher is just really, really upset that Ferris is not at school.
Yeah. He's kind of like, yo, that little boy, he lying to us.
I'm gonna go to his house and make sure he's there.
But a lot of the time it's like, you won't be able to do something because your parents say, no, sorry, you can't do that right now. Sorry. Or there won't be a thing on. Like,
there's not a lot of as many opportunities to do things as there are in movies.
There's less opportunities to do things, and when opportunities come up, sometimes you have to say no. Whereas in movies, you can just always go along.
Yeah.
Because that's...
It's like there's a moment at the party.
Yeah.
Because if you're having a moment and there's not a party on...
Which brings me to my next point, is fights. There's always fights in movies, like fist fights, and there's like everybody in a circle going, fight, fight. That does not happen.
I know in the States, right, I was at school, and I would hear about fights every so often, but I was never around one, and I didn't see one, so I don't really believe that they happen in school.
Yeah. Like, no, who's gonna start a fight in the middle of the corridor?
Two people were fighting, you'd be like, what is going on?
Yeah, and I've never seen a fist fight. Also, I feel like if that was happening, people wouldn't just stand around. Because it could get out of control.
I feel like
they
people
could
would stand around. You'd want to watch. You want to see what's going on. But I think you're right on that, because sure, there's isolated divides based on social activities, but that's just how you become friends with people when you're young.
Yeah. There are groups that are kind of a bit more, we'll just talk to anyone kind of thing. Like, yeah, and I'd say we have like a set group, but we would talk to other groups that are kind of mushed with our group, but like we wouldn't hang out with them all the time. There's
also like not a clear social hierarchy.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's
it's just different.
People, but how do you rank them more than others?
Yeah. But then they'd also be friends with other people.
Yeah.
Who are
and then
in
there's other people who would interact with us sometimes.
So it's not as like clear and thought out and like pyramid-y, as in like we are better because we do this. It's just we are different and we don't really chat that much, but because we have less in common.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whereas in the movies, if you're in a group with people, you wear the same clothes vibes as them, and you'll have that thing that all the people have. And if you have like an instrument, like a band instrument, you're in the band, you're one of the band kids. But lots of people will have an instrument, like, but they won't be in the same group.
Yeah.
Or if you read a book, you're a nerd. But people read books and they're not nerds, you know? It's I think it's probably just to add to, like, it makes it easier to watch it. It's easier to, like, understand the vibes. So, yeah, going on from, like, people, it's not always that the popular people just don't hang out with the unpopular people, and there's clear unpopular people and popular people and whatnot. So people will have we'll have, will be part of multiple different groups. But then also, people from different grades in movies, they're always friends with people from other grades. And I would say that does happen in life, but to a lesser degree. Yeah. And also, like, specifically, I'm thinking about Perks of Being a Wallflower when I say this. Sometimes the older people or the younger people will just go and sit with other year groups, you know? And just, like, in the cafeteria go, hey, what's up? I see you're new here. Or, hey, what's up? You look cool. You want to hang with us? But I think in real life, if you do end up being friends with someone from a different year, it's, like, through social clubs, through, like, things that you do.
Yeah. Like, or that you know them outside of school.
Yeah. Some 14-year-old going up to, like, an 18-year-old and be like, hey, want to hang? Or the other way around. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Before we say anything, though, we are friends with some 14-year-olds. And we do stan them.
Yeah, we stan them. But, like, to a certain extent, it's realistic that you would be friends with other people from other year groups. But the way that it's always gone about in movies is not realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Actual school, like the work, they never have work to do. And if they do have work to do, it's specifically to be able to work with somebody that they're attracted to.
Yeah.
And, like, develop a relationship with them through, like, working on a project together or getting tutored by them because they need to learn things because they got a D on their maths and their true love is so good at maths.
It's definitely weird because just the way that the school in the States is structured, that like they're always like class tests, that they're like, oh, this class test is going to be part of my grade, so got to do really good for this class test, and that's not something we really do.
Yeah, so they're always getting the essay, where they're twisting it to be like to talk about a lesson that they've learned, or talk about how they've grown as a person, or talk about what the actual movie's about, and the thing that happened in the movie, like, or they're in an English class and the teacher asks them like what they think the character is talking about, and they're like, well, and then they relate it to their own life and how they fell in love with this boy, but then it turned out this boy was actually a meanie and that he wasn't even right for them, you know? And it's always so profound, and they're like, I've figured it out now.
You've always figured it out.
Like, scenes in classes, it's just kind of to show that they have classes, or it's to show them interacting with a different character, or the fact that they fail in a test and then they need to get help from someone else. Get a little tutoring, or they have a project that they have to work on with someone. I mean, I get there's no point in including like just this is a full lesson they just had on chemistry and how you know.
Just one episode of Riverdale, but it's just their 40-minute math class.
But they should do that.
I don't get it.
Sorry, I don't know what's going on right now.
The highs and lows of high school football is all I'm about.
I was always waiting for like the essay title where I could just write about, you know, how I've grown as a person instead of the actual essay, because that always happens. Or like the question that the teacher asks you and you just go, oh, this is not actually about this thing, this is about me and my life.
Yeah. I want more just weird teachers in media.
Yeah.
Like, I had a French teacher who would just tell us stories about his crazy brother and not... He would be like, oh, by the way, my crazy brother once got into a car accident or something, blah, 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 and he'd complain about his brother for like 20 minutes. I'm like, okay.
There's like hardly any teachers who just kind of like tell you a story about them in like the movies.
Oh, yeah. In real life, there are a lot of them.
We need more of that, because that's interesting.
Teachers always go off on tangents.
Teachers don't exist, although your
there
best friend...
stories that just aren't relevant in movies. Whenever someone tells a story, right? Like, if a teacher were to tell a weird story in a movie, it's always like, relevant.
It's always like, oh my gosh. Yeah, if the teacher's telling a story, it's always like, it makes them realize something. Like, it's like, oh, I remember one time when I had a friend and we fell out, but then we realized, and then we didn't talk again, and I'm kind of still sad about it to this day. And then they go, oh, that fight that I had with my best friend, it wasn't even about anything. I should go and tell them that I'm sorry, you know?
I feel like it'd be so embarrassing if you did that.
Yeah. And everybody's just sitting in the class and you're like, but this is my movie. I can do this.
I'm the main character, so clearly this is about me.
I'd like to talk about love, because there's always people's fallen in love in the high schools. It's either the movie is like all about it, or there's just it's always there. Everybody's always in love, falling in love, having crushes, and
I have in my movie list, I think all of them have romance in them.
Yeah. What, Moxie? Boppin' movie.
Moxie.
It's got the main gal and our icon, Hand. Is that what his name is?
Not what his name is. Well, she calls him
Hands. Hands.
Yeah.
Why did she call him a Hand? That's so weird.
It's because he drew on his hands the stars and...
Right, yeah. So there's Hands, obviously.
Like,
Solo.
We don't even, like, watch all of the same YouTubers. Yeah. I doubt there's one YouTuber that everyone in our year watches. Or something like that, because that's more...
Yeah. I forgot what I was saying about Moxie. Oh, yeah. Love interest, you know.
Love.
It's all about love. Perks of being a wallflower. He's like... It's all about love, and...
Also that thing where in teen things, there's always two guys interested in you at the same time, and you have to choose.
Always. Yeah.
Well, this happens in Never Have I Ever.
To the kissing booth.
The kissing booth. Yeah.
And you have to pick, like, everybody's just head over heels for you because you're just amazing, because you're the main character and everybody loves you.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to choose. So love is a really key theme in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
In real life, less key?
I have a thing that I want to say.
Mm-hmm. You say it.
And it is about a casting thing. In, like, the 80s and 90s, right, there were people. And in teen movies, they cast a lot of, like, teen people and also people that were, like, in their early 20s. And that has gone well for some people, not so well for a lot of people. Also, like, early 2000s, there were a lot of, like, young Disney stars, and also them who did other things. And lots of them went on drugs, and it wasn't very good for them. Mm-hmm. So then for a while, do you remember this? They were casting, like, 25-year-olds in roles in teen shows and movies. Now, they're doing something that I think is maybe weirder. It's just a thing that I've noticed a couple times recently, is that they'll cast, like, the girls that they cast in the movies are, like, 20, 21, and then the guys are, like, in their mid to late 20s, which is still a weird thing. Like, this may be just 90% about Never Have I Ever, but I think it's so weird that she was 17 filming it, and she's, like, 18 now, the main girl.
Right.
And then, I don't know how old the rest of the cast were, but Paxton was 29 when that show came out, and he's 30 now, which is weird.
And he's, like, the love interest.
Yeah.
Which
is weird. And then in like, Julie and the Phantoms, they're, like, all the girls are, like, 16, 17, 20, and then the guys are, like, 24 in real life, which is, like, not a big enough difference, but it's still odd. You know what I mean? So, I don't know what the tea is with that.
Is it easier to believe that the men look older than the women in high school?
I think it would be easier to believe that a lot of at least I think a lot of girls that are, like, in their 20s could look like teenagers. I think it looks different for guys, because I think guys mature a lot. Like, it seems like there's a lot more of a difference between, like, a high schooler and someone in their 20s for a guy. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's also weird, though, because then, like, most romance movies in, like, real life, they always have, like, at least, like, a 10-year age gap or something. Mm-hmm. It's always, like, a very strange age gap, and the guys are always older, which is just, like, Hollywood being like, women must look young and be cool and small.
Something important always happens at prom.
Yes.
We probably won't get a prom.
Well, we definitely won't get a prom.
Yeah, like
we probably won't get
an equivalent. A prom equivalent. Because of, the thingamabob. But I imagine it would just be like any other dance. Whereas in the movies, it's always the moment where they get the guy, the moment where they dump the guy, or, it's always very pivotal.
I think it happens because, number one, it's always cute to see someone looking all nice and dressed up. And you're like, wow. But also, it's at the end of the school year. So
so it's kind of like an end of the movie.
Yeah, it's a good... But I'm looking at all my things. A lot of them have pivotal prom/dance scenes. I haven't seen that so much recently, but definitely in older media.
Yeah. That's true.
Again, all the John Hughes movies, they're always... Except The Breakfast Club. There's always, like, a prom thing. Oh, that's Ferris Bueller. I'm just thinking of two. But, like, Mean Girl, she gets the crown. She's, like, giving it to everyone.
Also, detention. That's always a really big thing. I've never had a detention. Never been to a detention. Don't think that they really exist.
They do, but, like, not at our school so much. Like, they don't really care that much.
You know? What even happens in detention? You probably just sit there. Whereas in detention, always something happens in detention.
Do you mean always, or do you mean the two things that you've seen?
Name the two things that I'm talking about.
Breakfast Club and Lemonade Mouth.
And I'm not okay with this.
Oh, also there's a detention scene in 10 Things I Hate About You, but she just breaks them out of detention.
Everybody's drinking and doing the drugs.
But also, like, the peer pressure element of it.
Peer pressure. There's always peer pressure. In real life, if
I don't know if I believe in peer pressure.
Yeah, somebody goes, hey, take this alcohol or you won't be our friend because you're not cool. That does not happen.
Yeah. Yeah, if people are like,
we need to make a disclaimer, like, this is our views are very limited to what we know. Yeah, this could happen in other places.
But from what we've seen, if people go, hey, do you want any drugs? And you say, no, places. I do not want drugs, thank you. They say, okay, goodbye.
Okay, see ya. So I just like to end with a couple of things that I learned from high school movies, or I thought I learned from high school movies about high school, is that there will always be so many parties. False, fake news. There are sometimes a couple of parties, is the truth. You will have so much time. Fake news. You have no time. But then you'll have lots of time, and you won't know what to do with it, because summer holidays. But most of the time, you won't have time to do many things. You will either be popular, or you will be bullied. And plot twist, I was neither. So that's fun for me, I guess. And I feel like that's the majority of people are like that. You will drink the alcohol and do the drugs. No. Some people, maybe. But it seems like in movies that, like, everybody does this in high school.
Every people.
Not the truth. They're lying to you. And the final thing is that I thought I would fall in love in high school, because I always fall in love. And you mean like you're like soulmate. Didn't happen. I'm sure there were a few things.
I think I agree with most things you said there.
Yeah.
Back on the love thing, just the fact that I watched Full House as a child, and I was very in love with Steve, DJ's boyfriend. Just thought that I would find myself with Steve. It hasn't happened so far, so hit me up if you are Steve from Full House only.
He's like an old man now, so...
Yeah, maybe not. Actually, don't hit me up.
Yeah, actually, change your plans. Don't be texting Remy. Don't do it.
It's a little too old. But,
yeah,
and I just want to shout out some old shows that we like that are high school, and also some new shows that we like are high school. But, we love the Degrassi. The old Degrassi, the new Degrassi. It's all banging. We love some Drake acting. Not really high school, but we love H2O Just Add Water. I want to throw that out there. That's a great show. New shows, Julie and the Phantoms. It's so good.
Yes.
Hit me up if you want me to be in season 2.
The tunes. So good.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, let us know. We're free.
Love Kenny Ortega. So just like, if you need me, I'll be there. Never Have I Ever. Great show. High School Musical, the musical series. Another banger. So yeah. Are there any shows that you would like to shout out?
I would like to shout out some shows. I also had Degrassi on my list. Riverdale was on my list of shows. Not for like a shout out, just as like a mention that things are weird in that show. Pretty Little Liars, bit of a bop. Ant Farm from like way back. Ant Farm. Then Boy Meets World. What a banger. Love Boy Meets World. So much going on. So much. Just so much to love in that show. And then I'm Not Okay With This is a recent one that I've watched twice now because I love it so much. So good. And I'm really upset that there's not going to be a season 2. I'll get over it one day. Also, what's that one I was talking about the other day? That I was like, awesome. Everything sucks. Everything Sucks. That's a good show. I like that show too, also. And then a couple movies that we probably mentioned already. Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Pokes Being a Wallflower, Moxie, Booksmart, and Lemonade Mouth.
Yeah.
To name a few, but I'm sure there are very many more.
Easy A, obviously, Clueless, Wild Child, Teen Beach Movie is just a banger. Not really relevant to the topic. High School Musical, Read It and Weep, and Getting There. And also all the Olsen Twins movies. Just shout out to them. I hope they're doing well. Yeah, just all of them. But my favorite one is New York Minute. It's great. They go to New York. Yeah.
I think that's all then. Mm-hmm. So, I guess we'll move on to our prompts. So fun. Do you want to start us off?
I'll start us off. Yeah. My prompt was kind of okay. The prompt I chose was handless corpse.
Oh.
And I was thinking, if handless corpse was a legend, kind of like the man without the head, we're gonna come across the thing. It's gonna come to me. Sleepy Hollow, that one. If the handless corpse is a legend, what are the things that you would hear about this legend, this handless corpse? Because, I'm sorry, if you saw a person without hands, you'd be a little surprised. But also, it depends on how, right? If they're wearing a short sleeve shirt and they have no hands, it's like their arm just ends, that would be weird. But if they're wearing a long sleeve shirt and like, see how my long sleeve shirt goes to like here? You might just think that I have small hands if I didn't have a hand here and that it's in the sleeve, but there's just no hand and you don't know that. Kind of spooky.
Well, normally, like, corpses, they wouldn't really be wearing, like,
you
big,
make a
like,
corpse walking around, though.
But it's like a skeleton.
That's true. It could be
It's not always been wearing, like, a fresh new jumper, you know? Oh, look at that, like, cute little skeleton in his, like, Nike hoodie.
Okay, so I have some things. I only have two, but if you have any other ideas for this spooky handless corpse. Can't open doors efficiently. I was thinking, sometimes ghosts and scary things open doors in your house. And you're like, oh no, that door is opening. But if you had no hands, it might be harder to open a door. You might try and open it like with like your two wrists or like with your mouth or something. So I wrote down.
That would make a funny video.
Can't open doors efficiently. So if the doorknob keeps moving, like if the doorknob keeps moving just like a little bit, you're like, someone's trying to get in, but they're trying really hard and it's not working. That could maybe be.
It's the handless corpse.
It's the handless corpse.
Wow.
Also, I'm going to pause for a second. The handless corpse can't carry a weapon. Hence the handlessness, you know. So handless corpse will headbutt you or hit your head with their head. You know how
that is a headbutt.
That's different. Headbutt is like when you're running at someone with like your head. And then banging your head against someone else's head is different.
Oh, okay.
But
that's how they get you.
That'd be so scary.
Be careful of the handless corpse.
If someone knocks their head against your head, you'd be shocked.
Yeah. Especially if it was like a gross corpse. Yeah. That's very creative thoughts right there. You should make a movie out of this.
I should. So if I make a short film called The Handless Corpse, can't steal the idea, it's copyrighted, obviously. You're watching this.
Don't take that
from us. Don't steal it.
It's all we have.
This is what
moving
day is
on.
It? It's April 16th, 2021. I copyrighted it.
Oh, but it's not actually April 16th when this video is going up. They can't know that we film it before it actually goes up.
Do they think we film it on Monday? It's April 19th. 18th.
It's April 19th, right 19 right now. Okay.
Yeah, definitely April 19th.
So, my prompt that I picked was the one that was a crying sun. So like the sun, it goes bright lights, heat, here you go, have some, but it's upset. So I decided to do a little painting. I don't have much experience with painting, so I tried my best. And I was trying to do little details with like a little tiny little paintbrush, because normally I would not try that. And I was like, I need to try something new, because that's what life's about. And so I did try. So it's not the greatest, but it's there, and this is what it looks like. Wow.
I think it's very exciting.
So sad, son. Hey, don't cry, sad son. It will be okay. So I just have like I wanted to do like the kind of sun that you'd see on a tarot card. So I looked up and that was what the picture would look like. And then I made it red and orange and yellowy like a sun, like fire. And then I made it sad by giving it tears. There was a little oopsie there. The cheeks looked like two different colors because there used to be a tear under there, and then I messed it up a little bit. But it just adds to it, really, It doesn't look the best in this lighting. It looks better in real life. I promise. Like, look at that. That's a better angle.
Yeah.
So good. Look at that. Yeah. Just ignore that gross looking cheek, but look at those eyebrows. They're so on point. Look at those eyes. Like, bam, eyes. I can see you. Anyway, that's that. So maybe try out some of the prompts yourself if you wanna, and you can send them to us, your artwork, your writing work, your thoughts, your whatever you do. If you try it out, you can send it to us at our Instagram, DM us, or our email, which will be somewhere. Look at the description in the video below. That's where you'll find it if you want to send us anything. We hope you do, because we love to see it. We hope you like to see our stuff, and we hope you enjoyed this video, and that you come back next time, and
bring your own knot cup.
Bring your own knot cup.